Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of In Distress, a podcast where I talk about nonsense in the comfort of my childhood bedroom. First of all, if you're listening to this, it's available. This podcast is available in video format. And if you're watching the video, it's also available in audio format. So if you want to do either one of those things, it's linked in the link tree in the description of this episode. Also, like, subscribe, leave comments if you have things to add to the conversation. I really appreciate it. If you have things that you want to say, I will probably take the critiques and respond and all the things. So yeah, feel free to interact because I love that. That's what this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be fun and supposed to be a community. It's going to be great. Anyways, this week I had a lot of things that I was really excited to talk about. And then something happened to me and I was like, I should probably talk about this instead. I feel like it's an important topic and something that needs to be talked about. And we're definitely going to be talking about racism. We're going to be talking about homophobia. We're going to be talking about the Black community. We're going to be talking about Black men and Black women. And we're going to talk about the hierarchy of race in American society. And we're going to talk about a little bit of sports because that's actually directly related to what I've experienced this week. And yeah, so if you're interested in that, stick around. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. So yeah, also, if you're anti any of those things, you can either stay and listen or not. I really don't care. You don't have to be here. If you choose to stay here beyond this point, that was an option you made. That's a decision you made. And if you leave any comment that is not a part of what could be a constructive conversation and move the needle, or help other people better understand things, or me to better understand things, I will block you. I will delete the comment. I will do whatever it takes because I'm really over it this week right now, okay? So, anywho, it all started when I made a TikTok. That's typically how these problems begin. It's that damn TikTok. I made a TikTok about this situation that's been happening in women's basketball. And the first thing I'm going to say is this. To the men who have joined the women's basketball community over the past few months, few weeks, few days, whatever, a lot of y'all are coming into the space with that negative ass energy. And I'm going to tell you right now, we don't do that around these parts. We don't. Don't nobody want to hear about, nobody trying to have no race wars. Nobody trying to hear any misogynistic comments. Nobody trying to hear or see you put down women. We're not trying to do that pit women against women nonsense. We don't get the WNBA don't get down like that. That's one. They don't get down like that. They'll go and trash talk on the court. They'll do a little bit of showboating. They'll do a couple push-offs, and that's it. At the end of the game, we dapping up, and it's all love. It's all love. You're going to be liking, and in the Instagram comments, when they post when they walk through the tunnel, when they post them pictures, them girls who just whooped somebody on the other team, they about to be, girl, I love your fit. They're going to be heart eyes. They're going to be fire emoji, boom, boom, boom. Girl, I love you. Dap up. We queen. And they're going to be playing on the USA women's basketball team a couple months later. So don't do too much. We don't get down like that. We don't get down like that in women's basketball. We don't get down like that. That's one. Anywho, glad I addressed that. I went and made a TikTok about the situation that's been happening in basketball. And basically, I'm going to break it down really quick, okay? So if you don't watch sports, if you have no clue what this is talking about, I'm going to be talking about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And not even really so much Caitlin Clark because this is more about an inciting incident and then the things that followed. So to the people out there who are the people who do like the classy classless thing, don't bring that shit over here. This is not the place for that. Don't bring that shit over here. Anywho, I love me some basketball, first of all. Because people like to question it. People really like to question it. I grew up playing basketball. What are other things I need to add? I still enjoy shooting around. It's really fun for me. I play a lot of 2K. I watch a lot of NBA basketball. And then when NBA season's over, I watch WNBA. I love the Las Vegas Aces. I'm a ride and die for that team right there. Back when Bill Laimbeer was the coach, and now Becky is in there helping them win chips. It's really great. They're super talented. Every woman in the WNBA is super talented, like so super skilled, very high level, high IQ league. And I will be the first to say, female players do not get the option to be low IQ. Okay, women players only get to be high IQ because there's not enough space in the league for people who are just out there just trying to hoop like they're playing in the streets. I'm going to be honest. I think a lot of men's basketball, that's my one critique about the NBA. And it's even a critique that NBA players have, former NBA players and players who are still playing now have for some of the younger people who are coming in, is that a lot of them don't know. They don't do plays. They don't do sets. They don't do none of that stuff. They just go out there and be hooping, and that's why the team losing, basically. I'm going to say that. Not saying they're not highly skilled. I think sometimes some players just get away with just being talented and not taking those extra steps to do what it takes to be like an elite high-level player. Like, yeah, you might go to the gym and do what you need to do, what you're supposed to do, and then you might not do no extra. Like, I'm talking about people like that, okay? That's my critique about the NBA. It's not everybody, but I've heard in the streets that it's a little shaky. There's a couple of people in there that be acting like that. Anyways, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese plays for LSU, and honestly, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm gonna give you guys like a little visual aid. Okay, because actually there's a lot. We're going to do a couple of visual aids today. So to the audio listeners, I'm just follow me. Okay, follow me. So first of all, we have, and I'm going to go long ways. I'm going to go like this. And y'all probably it's going to be backwards when I write it, but just get the picture. Oh, girl. Okay, I fixed it. Okay, so first of all, we have Angel Reese. Sorry, I moved away from the mic. First of all, we have Angel Reese, and then we have Caitlin Clark, okay? I hope I spelled this girl's name right because I am not trying to get cooked. Let me actually Google it because I don't need any of them white men to come over on this page and start sending me nasty comments and racist threats because I already got enough of them over on TikTok. And I spelled it right. Yeah. So we have these two players. We have Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, okay? Caitlin Clark plays for the Iowa Hawkeyes, and I'm just going to put the states on here, and Angel Reese plays for LSU. Go Tigers. Anywho. Angel Reese. Nice lady. Anywho. Basically, last year, what you need to know, I'm going to break it down for you real quick. Caitlin Clark was playing, okay? She went down to the championships, okay? It was March Madness and this little basketball tournament. You play one game against whoever you're matched up against, and then you move down slowly, and then you get to the final two teams in the championship. This is for men and women, but we're talking about women. So, Caitlin Clark had went and she played against the South Carolina Gamecocks, okay? Really great team. Dawn Staley is an amazing coach. She's coached some of the best like that. And she's really good at making sure that they have the stuff that they need to get to the WNBA and transition well. Because a lot of rookies and stuff have said that it's a tough transition and stuff like that. Like even like some of the best, like Kelsey Plum, she said it was a tough adjustment at first. That was a lot because of the internet comments and stuff. But anywho, sometimes it can be a tough adjustment. Going from playing college basketball to playing WNBA basketball. And Dawn is an amazing coach who makes sure that her players are ready and set up to be successful in the league. Anywho, so we had Caitlin Clark and she played against them. And during that, she did the little John Cena, you can't see me. Okay. And that's just something athletes do. They do like the showboating. They do like after Steph Curry hits a three, he does like a little celebration. After LeBron does a good dunk, like he's celebrating over there. He's riling the crowd up. Like athletes just do that. Patrick Mahomes, people like that. Was it Joe Burrow? People just do it. Okay. So then, she moved into the championship. And that year, the championship it was the Iowa Hawkeyes versus the LSU Tigers, right? And AKA Angel Reese's team. So at the end, LSU ended up winning, and Angel Reese had hit her with the "you can't see me," kind of like like a little hey, like you did it, I'm doing it back kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like a little taunt, just a little bit. And immediately she was met with hate comments. She was met with people telling her that she was classless and that she's terrible, she's a thug, all of these things. And as you can see, that's a problem because not only was she not the first person to do that, all athletes do that. All athletes do the showboating and stuff like that. They do the taunting, all of it. People were saying that she wasn't sportsmanlike, but nobody had those comments or said those things when Caitlin Clark did it. And this is no shade to Caitlin Clark. I think she's super talented. This is just the incident where this is just the perfect situation to talk about the race situations and problems that we have in American society. So like I said, very talented girl, can shoot the shit out of a basketball, honestly. If she can get her mid-range good, it's over, I fear. Pairing her with Aaliyah Boston in Indiana, lethal. She's an amazing passer. She's great. Anywho, back to what I was talking about. So, Angel Reese is black. I'm gonna write that down in my notes. In the little, I'm gonna write that down. Caitlin Clark is white. Okay, when she did the John Cena. Okay, and we're gonna do some arrows. John Cena. That's what we're gonna call it. We're just gonna call it the John Cena. And then Angel Reese did the John Cena. After Caitlin did it, if you follow me, after Caitlin did it, she's competitive. That's what they said. They said she's competitive. When Angel did it, she's classless, unsportsmanlike, okay? They were on her neck with, she's a thug, all of these things, right? Those stereotypes, thug, that's one. But when the white girl did it, it's just, she's competitive. That's important to remember. So, boom. Angel ended up winning the championship that year, did the little thing. The media said she's the villain. She accepted that role. Here's why this is important. Angel Reese had two options once people said that she was the villain. Okay? There were only two options. And I'm going to tell you why there was only two options. Number one, she could have accepted the narrative that people had put onto her, that the media was going with, that social media was going with. She won at the end of the day. So either accept what we say you are or deny what we say you are. And when you deny it, you're going to be an angry black woman. If she sat there and said, I'm not the villain, I didn't do anything wrong, she would have been painted as an angry black woman. It's not hypothetical. We know that that's what would have happened. So that's what we're working with. She accepted the villain arc. Let's write that down in our notes. She accepted the narrative This is important because there was never any other option for her, okay? It was a lose-lose situation. These are two sides of the same coin. It was either you're going to be exactly what we tell you that you are and you're going to like it, or you're going to deny it and then we're still going to hate you. So there was no winning in this situation. That's what I want people to understand, because people on the internet, on TikTok over there, where I said this initially, people like to act like they're dense. People like to act like they don't understand the situation and that race isn't involved in it. First of all, had this been men's basketball, this topic, this inciting incident that first happened above this line, right? We'll call this year one of the incident, right? Year one. This would not even still be a topic of conversation if this was men's basketball. It wouldn't be. And you can't even deny that. You can't. I want to see somebody tell me that it wouldn't be, because it would be. It would be. This would not still be a topic a year later. So, glad we got that out of the way. Secondly, y'all, and this is something I have said and I'm going to continue saying, people hold, first of all, women to this impossible standard, okay? Women have to act a certain way. They have to be classy, and they need to be quiet, and they need to be passive. They don't need to speak up. They don't need to use their voice. They just need to sit in the back and shut up and not speak. That's what society wants you to see women as. They want you to see women as these passive people who you can say anything and do anything to. You can catcall them and you can say whatever you want about their bodies, and you can say that they deserve whatever treatment that they get because of the way that they're dressed or something, and you can objectify them, and you're not gonna really experience any consequence for that. That's what society wants you to believe. That's what they want you to think. That's the thing that they instill inside of people, right? Anywho. So on top of that, we have women who are put on these standards to do these things. Women are expected to go and be the mothers. Women are expected to be the ones who sacrifice things in their life. Who sacrifice their careers and who sacrifice their time and who knows what else for their kids, and to make a home for their husband and all of these things. And then when they don't do those things because they're not doing what you want them to do and they're not being the person that you want them to be, it's a problem. And what makes that even worse, so women in general are already held to a impossibly high standard to always show up perfectly and to always be passive and to do XYZ, right? And then you add the element of being Black to that. Now, Black women are expected to be strong. Black women are expected to hold men down. Black women are expected to do all of these things and to just sit down and shut up and take what you give them. That's what people in the media or in society want you to believe Black women are supposed to be doing. And that's the standard that they hold you to. So if you don't do the things that they want you to do, you're a bad person and they don't like you. And so now they're going to try to tear you down and belittle you and humiliate you and make you feel small. That brings me to my next chart before we finish this up. So intersections, let's talk about that, because I've talked about them before. Intersections are really just, I won't say labels, but they're the way that we break down these labels, right? So intersectionality is really just the concept of describing the way in which systems of inequality based on gender, race, ethnicity, social orientation, gender identity, disability, class, and other forms of discrimination intersect to create unique dynamics and effects, right? So let's take me, for example, right? I'm a Black woman, right? I'm a Black woman, but not only that. I'm also gay, queer, bi, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to label it. Those are 3 intersections for me. I'm able-bodied, and we're gonna stick with that for right now. So we have these intersections, and I'm gonna do a circle, okay? I'm gonna do some circles here. And so what's important here to note is that if however many intersections you have, there's a hierarchy, right? So what you need to know is that in this American society, in this patriarchal society, in capitalist society, whatever, the person who has the most privilege is a white man, okay? Let's do that. Let's also get that. Let's get that graphic going. The hierarchy of American society, okay? This is a terrible triangle, but we'll make do. We'll make do. Actually, I don't want nobody on the end because I'm gonna post this on TikTok and people like to get nasty. Hold on. Now hold on. All right. So we have this hierarchy. So let's title it the hierarchy of privilege. This is also ASMR. And let me sit here and make sure that I'm spelling my word because I don't want people to think I'm stupid. Hold on. Oh, girl. There we go. Okay, I was eating down on this spelling like purr. Okay, so we have our hierarchy of privilege. And I'm sorry that this is backwards, but you get the idea. Maybe it's not backwards. Maybe I'll flip it in post. Anyways, so first of all, the person who has the most privilege in American society, right? Number 1, if you will, is the white man. Okay? Oh, and let me get a different marker actually so that we can really zero in on this. Okay. So in this hierarchy of privilege, we have 1, the white man. Okay? The white man. Okay, because men are always going to be over women. Okay, let's start there. Men always over women, but it has to be the right combination. And you're going to follow me. You'll see what I mean in a second. So the second best thing to be is a white woman. Okay. Where is my, oh, it's right there. Okay. White women. That's number 2. Okay. Being a white woman, that's going to put you at the 2 spot. Okay. 3 and 4, these are difficult. 3, 4, and 5, because what I need everyone to understand is that at the end of the day, a Black woman is going to be in last place, okay? And it's because of the racism, yes, okay? But it's also that proximity to whiteness. So if you have, yes, and this is kind of on the conversation of colorism. I know that some people who aren't in the Black community may not know what that is. Basically, it's about the shade of your skin tone, right? So darker skinned Black women in the Black community typically, and not even typically, statistically as well, experience the most harm and the most violence because of their skin color, because of their complexion, because they're darker. And so the spectrum is this: white to Black. okay, so we have this white to black, right? And so if you're white, however close you are to white is the more accepted you're going to be, right? And so because of that racism that is a part of American society, Black people are typically at the bottom. In particular, darker skinned Black women, okay? So when we're talking about privilege and we're talking about the hierarchy of privilege and we're talking about this triangle and everything, typically other minorities who aren't Black would go into the 3 spot. And we're not going to get too far into the particulars because that would change things. But because people who are Asian, right? Asian Americans or Latinx, I know that some people don't agree with that term. So, and Hispanic and Latinx are different things. So anyways, if you want to do research on that the internet and Google are available to you. So Asian, Latinx, Hispanic, and any other minority that isn't Black would go here at the 3 spot because of that proximity to whiteness, right? So on 3, they would probably fall here, right? And because they are still closer to white than Black, they're at that 3 spot, okay? We're not going to get too far into that one because I'm mostly focusing on Black. If you want to go and make your own video focusing on other minority groups, feel free to do that, but I'm not doing that here. Okay, so then we have the 4 and the 5. And I think it's also important for me to add that if we're talking about people who aren't, like, if you're not Asian American, maybe you immigrated here, you're also probably going to fall a little bit lower than that 3. You're probably going to fall at like 3.5, maybe around the 4, because people's xenophobia definitely cuts into this hierarchy. But if you're just going based off of looks alone at the beginning, just off visual sight, that's typically where we're falling. So we have other minority groups at the 3. At the 4, we have Black men, okay? Because even though that man is Black, he's still a man. And so this is, yes. And we're going to do like kind of a smaller arrow here, but we have men here at the top of this spectrum. Again, we have men and then we have women, right? Okay. So again, at the 4, we have Black men because they're men. Okay. You have to, it's kind of like at the same time, like these things have to be, if you're a Black man, I don't know if you're understanding, if you're getting the idea, but because you're a man, you're still higher up. But because if you're a white woman though, you still got it because you're white, right? But if you're a Black woman, you're falling on the bottom of both of these scales, right? So at number 5 is Black women. And this is our, if you're watching the video version, this is our close-up of the situation, right? So that's our breakdown. So I went on the internet and I was talking about the situation. There's an inciting incident. And so we're still moving on to the rest of the story. You need to keep that hierarchy of privilege in your mind though. And then we're going to get back to the intersections actually. And then we're going to get back to the situation, right? So intersections, as I stated before, my intersections that I'm going to put right now is that I'm Black, I'm a woman, and I am bi, okay? So these are mine, okay? So I'm Black, and because of that, I will experience racism, okay? I'm a woman. I will experience gender discrimination. Sorry, I'm writing to the people who are listening. And, or slash, my bad. Gender discrimination, or what's the other one? Oh, sexism. And also, because I'm a Black woman, there's, oh yeah, and misogyny. Sorry. I don't want to spell it wrong because people already been on my neck today. Is that even how you, sorry. It's actually taking quite long. Oh, I got it. Okay. Misogyny. Okay. Because if I don't know something, I'm going to Google it. Not too much. Anyways, because I'm a woman, I'm going to experience gender discrimination / sexism, misogyny. And because I'm a Black woman, that creates a different bubble of misogynoir. Okay, but we're gonna stick to just this right now, okay? And because I'm bi, I'm gonna experience homophobia. Okay. And so it's kind of like the more intersections you have, the more intersections that you have, I won't say the more you're going to go through in life, but it puts you at a different point in the scale, right? So if I were just a bi white woman, I would be seen in, if we're having that hierarchy of privilege, if we're back on that, I'm going to fall somewhere in here, right? Not like, I'm not going to fall here. I'm going to fall a little bit below that. These intersections put you at different levels of privilege, okay? So if I'm a Black bi man, I'm still a man. Even though I'm Black, I'm still a man, so that's still going to give me different privilege, right? So I'm still going to fall here on this scale, but I'm still going to end high on the man scale, right? Or on the gender scale of just men and women. And obviously, there are people who identify as non-binary, and I will say that puts you also in a different intersection and stuff like that, and that's a different situation. And yes, but right now I'm just focusing on just the binary, just to break it down really hard, cut and dry for people, because people like to act like they don't know what's going on. So, anywho, to be all three of these things puts you lower. It puts you lower on that hierarchy of privilege, okay? And so that's what I wanted to get through. So I really want people to understand that I'm not making, first of all, I do want to say I'm not making these things up, okay? If you want links to some resources, like some peer-reviewed articles about racism, because I am actually quite well versed and I have recommendations and sources. So if you want to sit here and tell me that racism isn't real and it's not still a thing, and because I got a lot of comments on my TikTok about Black people are always complaining about racism and everything isn't about that. And what's crazy is I've gotten Black people telling me that, and not everything's about race and blah, 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 all this bullshit. And let's actually have that discussion then, since y'all want to talk about that. Being Black, being in America, being an American, being a part of American culture, everything is about race, because everything was built on racism. Like, I don't know why that's so hard for like people to get through their heads, but apparently it is. America was built on the backs of slaves and the ideas of slavery, and on the idea that Black people are less than. Just because you take away the separate bathrooms and the segregation doesn't make people think that you're equal to them, okay? I need Black people especially to understand that. And to the white people out there, you probably don't want to hear that because, or no, not to the all white people, to the people out there who are racist, to the white people out there who are racist, I need you to understand, because, and you're probably not even going to hear this, so it doesn't even matter. y'all like to pretend like stuff doesn't happen because you've never personally seen it happen. You never personally experienced it. And that's the problem with American culture, is that because maybe you haven't experienced the level of racism that other people have, you like to pretend that racism isn't a thing. Because you haven't experienced what it's like for people to be homophobic towards you, you like to pretend it's not a thing. Just because you haven't experienced misogyny, because you haven't experienced people saying things to you just because you're a woman, or treating you, or catcalling you, or objectifying you, or just doing too much, okay? Over-sexualizing you. You like to pretend that it's not a real thing because you haven't experienced it and you haven't had firsthand encounter with it. And that's the problem with American culture. Everybody's so selfish, and everybody feels like they have to, like, not everybody, but there are the majority of Americans like to act like they don't have any, like it's impossible to have compassion or empathy or understanding of somebody else's situation because they're not living it. You don't have to live other people's situations and their experiences to acknowledge that the things that they're going through and the hurt that they've experienced and the harm that they've experienced is real. Okay, so that's first. Because how would you feel if somebody went and said, maybe somebody cheated on you, right? How would you feel if somebody said, well, you shouldn't really be hurt by that because it didn't happen. It just didn't. It doesn't exist. Like, cheating isn't real. Like, they didn't even cheat on you. They apologized. So it doesn't even really count. How would you feel if people were just out around invalidating your experiences? You'd be pretty upset. So one thing I didn't appreciate on the internet was a lot of white people and a lot of black people, because a lot of y'all were getting real nasty in the comment section, telling me that racism isn't something that is still happening today, because the comments in my video literally prove that racism is still a thing. And not only that, but a lot of people were talking about, we need to stop with this, black men are hurting black women and we need to come together as a community. Why the fuck would I come together and unite with you as a community when you're sitting here bashing my experiences, okay, that are actively happening in said comment section, in the video or whatever? Why would I want to unite with people who wish me harm? I really want to know that. Y'all are acting like a lot of black men like to sit there and pretend like they aren't a part of the problem, or that they aren't the problem. Y'all love to sit and play victim too. Like, y'all do it every single day, and y'all like to accuse black women of saying that they're the victim when we sit here and call out the stuff that you do. All I'm doing is calling out a pattern of behavior. You think I sit around thinking I want black men to be terrible? I would love that. No. In the perfect world, we could all kumbaya and shit together, but that's not happening. The same way that a lot of you black men like to talk about, oh, I don't trust white people and da-da-da-da-da-da. So how would you feel if somebody white just came up to you and said, we just need to all get along, and it's not like that. The things that you're saying you experience, they're not real, and racism isn't really a thing anymore, and you just need to let it go. You need to let it go. Who the fuck are you to tell me to let go? Girl. And then a lot of y'all were getting real nice telling me, oh, well, girl, you just need to shut up. You're just whining and complaining. Okay, then scroll the fuck off my page, because you damn sure didn't have to sit through the entire video. You damn sure didn't have to leave the comments. So what now? What now? That was a choice you made. And now you got to sit here and live with it. And I sit here and I take the comments because I'm like, y'all can't hurt my feelings because I know who I am. I know what I believe in. And I'm not going to shut up just because you said you need to stop talking about this. I don't give a fuck what you have to say. If you want to go and have your own opinions, go make your own fucking video. I don't see a lot of y'all who were commenting and making comments back to me who were making videos. So that's really interesting to me. So I'm going to sit here and have my fucking opinion the same way that you sat there and had yours. Anyways, girl, let me find it. Anyways, but yeah, a lot of people were doing too much, and we're going to break down why. I'm sorry, y'all. I got distracted with the other stuff and explaining it. I didn't even get to finish the year 2 anyways. So now we have year 2 this year, which is literally like during the week. So Angel Reese accepted the narrative, right? So to re-jog your memory, she did the John Cena You Can't See Me People said that she was classless and unsportsmanlike. She was a thug when she did it. When Caitlin Clark, a white woman, remember the hierarchy, remember the intersections, did that same thing. She did the John Cena, you can't see me. She was labeled as competitive. Okay? That's important. So year 2 comes around. They have the rematch before the championship, right? So it's LSU versus Iowa. Big game that came on Monday or Tuesday. One of those days. And like I said, Angel Reese accepted that narrative that she was the villain because there were only 2 options. She could either accept that she was the villain or come out and say that that's not me, that's not how this went. And she could have said, like, this is purely the outrage that I'm seeing and the comments that I've been getting are purely based off of racism and it's not fair. She would have been labeled differently, okay? It was either you take this narrative that we're giving you, or you don't, and we're going to say whatever we want, and we're still going to mistreat you and label you as the villain anyways. So there was no winning in this situation. So the game happens. LSU versus Iowa. Unfortunately, LSU lost the game. Iowa won. Congrats to them. They played really well. They did. Angel Reese has a press conference. At the press conference, she's asked by the media about, I think it was like something about like, about how the season's been or how the year's been or something. And she ended up crying. You know, it was like her last game playing on the collegiate level, first of all. And also, she ended up talking about how her experiences on social media throughout the past year since the championship have been really rough. She's gotten death threats and she's gotten a lot of racist comments thrown towards her. She's just been through a lot. And she stated that and she got emotional. 2 things can be true at once. I talk about this a lot. Things aren't black and white, okay? Angel Reese could have, because multiple things can be true at once, and I think we all know that, she could have accepted that people see her as a villain. I think I spelled villain wrong. Let's Google it, guys. Hold on. Stay with me. I was about to start humming into the mic, but I don't want to get copyright striked. I was so close. AI. I always do that with that word. Anyways. So, Angel Reese had 2 things can be true at once, right? She could accept that she's a villain. She could have accepted the narrative that everybody was going to put on her anyways. And she could also experience hate comments that make her emotional. And not only hate comments, but also sexualized, like just being over-sexualized and being objectified. Hate comments and objectification. And that's the problem with this situation. 2 things can be true at once, but far too many people on the internet are trying to say that she cried during her press conference because she wanted sympathy for losing. And that's not at all what the situation was. She was crying because she was talking about something that she's been experiencing and something that's been hurtful and harmful to her. She wasn't asking for sympathy for losing the game. And y'all know that. A lot of the people pushing this narrative that that's why she was crying, because she wanted sympathy. And You can't want to be the villain and the big bad wolf and put a target on your back and then want sympathy for losing. That's not what she wanted. That's not at all what was going on there. She was discussing something that she's been struggling with in her personal life and on media. And that's why she was crying. And now we're back to what I'm here to talk about. I made a TikTok about that because there was a black man who's Nigerian. Apparently, that's super important for me to know. He is on this show on FS1, Speak, and he went on the internet, or not on the internet, he went on national television, and he talked about how Angel Reese, I'm going to go word for word for you. He said he was going to make a gender neutral, racially unbiased take on the situation. And he proceeded to try to put it into his own words of his take that you can't be the villain and then cry and ask for sympathy afterwards. You need to take the L or whatever. And I had a problem with that because he basically went on national television and told a black woman that her experiences were invalid and not real because just there was no reason really because. And moreover, he tried to strip the context of the situation. He tried to say, oh, well, I'm not going to bring race into it. I'm not going to bring gender into it. All of those things are important to the conversation. And even when he didn't use the gendered language or the race language, like the implications were still there. Like all of those things were still implied. You can't talk about this situation and take the race part out of it because that's what makes this topic still something that's being talked about a year afterwards. It's because of that. There's nothing more to say. Like, it's because of race that this is still a topic. And hard stop. I thought it was really stupid and it was honestly really ignorant. His take was stupid and ignorant. And I went on the internet and I said that. I went more into depth about why I said that and all those things. And I talked about how black women are held to impossible standards, which they are. And I talked about all of these things. And people came into my comment section and they left the nastiest comments. Okay? I'm going to share a couple of them. There was one man, he told me basically he told me, I'm going to summarize it because he left several comments, but basically he said, because I'm a black woman, I'm supposed to be strong and racism doesn't exist. And I'm going to start, first of all, by saying black women shouldn't have to be strong all the time. Black women are constantly fighting and helping other people fight for their causes and stuff, but nobody ever helps black women when they need it. Okay, that's one. Two, black women don't have to be so strong all the time. We're just people, like we're just humans. We have feelings and we have emotions. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if I sit here and yell at my TikTok camera about something that I'm passionate about, now I'm an angry black woman. Stereotypical. Y'all are putting the stereotypes on me. I'm not allowed to have feelings or emotions because I'm a black woman now. That's basically what a lot of you guys are saying and implying when you talk about black women, especially on the internet, and say racism isn't real and all those things, but then you have these stereotypical and biased comments that you say. So I really want you to explain that to me. How racism and stereotypes and all this stuff isn't real and it's not, and it's always, it's not real, you need to leave it alone. Whenever I hear people talk about race, it's always black people complaining about it. Yeah, because I'm experiencing it actively every day. The system is set up for me to fail. As a black woman, I have to be intentional. As a black woman, I have to be careful about how I react to things. I could sit and find out that I got laid off, right? Maybe I worked really hard. I could sit and find out I lost my job, but I have to sit there and handle it like, oh, well, thank you for the opportunity, XYZ. If I don't handle it the way that I'm expected to handle it, now if I get angry, I'm not allowed to be angry because now I'm an angry Black woman. Black women constantly have to be mindful of who they're around and whether or not they're being accepted in the space. And that's not a great thing to have to be intentional and mindful about. Like, if I need to break down and cry, now all of a sudden I'm not allowed to do that sometimes because I'm supposed to be a strong Black woman. And Black men a lot of them don't help make that any easier. A lot of Black men don't hold the people around them accountable for the way that they treat women, especially Black women, and they over-sexualize them. And honestly, let me just say this. Just because a woman walks around in a skirt or something, doesn't matter what she's wearing or anything like that, doesn't give you the right to catcall her, to objectify her, to make her feel uncomfortable. Like, a lot of y'all that like to sit around and say, it's not me, we're not all like that, are a lot of times the same people who, if your friend or somebody you're close with or a family member or something sexually abuses or assaults a woman, it's no, he wouldn't do that. Y'all are real apologetic about that. And I find that interesting. Y'all are always talking about, oh, I do my best to protect Black women, but okay, that's fine that you do that, but are you also holding other people accountable? And this goes for everybody. It's not just Black men. Fine. Okay. I'll say that. It's not just Black men that need to hold other people accountable. It's on everybody to hold each other accountable. Sort of, kind of. If you're a white woman and your white friend says something anti-Black, racist or something, it's your job to hold that girl accountable. Don't just sit around and let her keep yapping. Like, you need to call that out. You need to buck up and advocate for some people. And that same thing goes for white men. It goes for Black men. It goes for Black women. If somebody's saying something that's homophobic, you need to get in there, girl. It's time for you to step up to the plate. We all need to be advocating for each other. We all need to be holding each other accountable for the things that we're saying and doing. Too many people have been getting away with saying and doing whatever they want and thinking that they're never going to experience consequences for that stuff. And I'm going to be the first one to tell you that's not flying around here. I will clock you. You will be held accountable and you will be experiencing some consequences. Like, girl, don't do too much. Anyways, that's besides the point. And also, as a Black woman, something I've realized is that I was having a conversation on my TikTok the other day, and earlier this week, I had made a video and I was talking about how it's important to keep having tough conversations, and that in order for us to do good in the world and in order for us to change things and for things to get better is that we have to keep having conversations. And a part of having those conversations is to not be angry or is to try your best to not get upset about other people having different opinions and just listening to them. Like, even if you don't agree with them, and maybe even if they don't listen to you, like, you can still get knowledge from listening to other people's perspectives on things. And that's something that's important to me. And that's how I remain optimistic that we can still do better and we can be better, is because if we keep having these conversations and they're open in their discussions and they're not people projecting their anger onto you or their feelings. And somebody had said in the comments, it's easy to be angry. It's hard to be compassionate. Because I think a lot of our anger towards situations or how other people handle situations is like misplaced. And I think that sometimes, especially recently, and with the genocide that's happening in Gaza and with Palestinian people, is that I think we're all coming to this realization that you can't help everybody, and that sometimes like people don't care about things that they should. They don't care about other people's lives. And this is American society, so it's very obvious that unless somebody's going through something a lot of the time, it's tough for them to be compassionate or empathetic to what other people are going through. There's a lot of people that I know who are just, they go to work, they come home, they eat dinner, they're just around and living life to collect a check. That's it. Their world, they don't care too much about politics. They don't care too much about what other people are experiencing in the world. They don't care about that. They're here for them, and that's it. And honestly, I'm not giving people a pass for that, but it's hard to fault people for that. It's hard to fault people for just wanting to live their life and that be it. Like, is it ignorant? Well, yes, but I can't be mad at that. Like, the economy's trash. Like, we're not in the best state of the world right now. The climate crisis that we're in, global warming, climate change, whatever you want to call it, that's going to shit. America in general is going to shit. I can't really be too upset with people for not focusing on other things than just trying to make it through the day and just trying to survive. It's really hard to fault people for that because this is a really terrible situation that we're in. But at the same time, I think that at the beginning of this, especially, and even still now, because I'm still seeing it, a lot of people were talking about how they weren't going to listen to this artist album. They weren't going to support this actress, and they weren't going to do that because they didn't use their platforms to speak out and advocate for the Palestinian people. I think it's important to realize that people have different roles in advocating for others or to get change. Some people are the people who use their platform and speak out on stuff and aren't afraid to use their voice. That takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of confidence to do that. Some people are afraid. I can't fault people for being afraid to lose their job or to lose fans or to lose backing at a music label or to not get roles. I can't fault people for that. Like, if that's how you live, that's how you survive, that's your job, it's hard for me to fault people for that because I have empathy and I have compassion for that. People are just trying to make ends meet sometimes. And it's really hard to accept that, but it's the truth. But anyways, there were a lot of people who were going around saying that they weren't going to support these people because they didn't use their platform or whatever. And then those same people went and supported those people when a new album came out or a new movie came out and all of these things, and that flew out the window. I really just think that was misplaced anger, that the anger that people had for people not using their platforms and just constantly trying to target and find people who haven't posted about the genocide. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm not guilty of that because I was a part of that too at one point, but it wasn't right. Like, yeah, it would be really nice if we all had the courage and the confidence to go and use our platforms and make sure that everybody knows everything, but that's not everybody's role. Some people's role is to send the links that people make of informational posts or articles. Their job in this is to send links to their friends and let them know, share the information, put it on their Instagram story, and that's it. Some people's role in this is to send money, to send food, supplies, whatever, to Gaza or to people in the Congo or Sudan or whatever, wherever in the world that they want to do that for. That's some people's role. It's not everybody's role to be vocal and to use their platform. And if you feel that it is, okay. But at the same time, don't be a hypocrite and then say that this person is terrible and horrible and then also still go and support their stuff because you're clearly not on that same energy. You're not on that same time. Like, I think that sometimes we really need to all take a step back and just take the realization that, like, unfortunately, this is these are the cards that we're dealt. Like, this is like what we've been given. We just have to work with that. Like, you can still be vocal and you can still advocate for other people. And just, if that person doesn't do that, that's on them. They're going to have to deal with that or whatever. They're going to have to deal with that guilt, or maybe they feel no guilt at all. Like, they're going to have to deal with that. I don't think we need to be policing people on the things that they do and say. Like, it will be really great for everybody to talk about Palestine and for everybody to care. But people don't. And that's been a really hard realization to come to, but it's the truth. And unfortunately, it's what we've been given to work with. That's what we have to deal with. And yeah, I did want to say that, but back to what I was saying, I ended up having that conversation, and then I ended up talking about something else. I don't really remember. But I think I ended up talking about people's responses to things and how people have really kind of just... And it wasn't necessarily... That's kind of low-key foreshadowing that I talked about this. But anyways, somebody had left a comment. It's easy to be angry. It's hard to be compassionate, in terms of like... Sometimes you just disagree with people on things, like on politics, on like personal stuff, maybe like abortion, the death penalty or whatever. Sometimes you just disagree with people and immediately you want to get angry and then you project that anger onto whoever had the opinion or whoever made the video or whoever said this or that. And I agree that it's very easy to be angry. I think that used to be the first thing that I was when I heard differing opinions, was to be angry. But it's harder to be compassionate. And I think that applies to the hate comments that I was getting on the video that I made about this basketball situation and Emmanuel Acho, and the hate comments that I received from Black men and women alike, and the hate and racist comments that I received from white people, and the hate comments and homophobic remarks that I received from people. It's easy for people to be angry and to project that stuff. It's a lot harder to be compassionate. And for me, that's important. And I keep restating that, because when I got these hate comments, and people said some really nasty things, I'll go ahead and share some of them. Like I said, I was going to 20 minutes ago. But there was one white man who told me that because I'm a Black woman, I'm supposed to be strong and racism doesn't exist. And a direct quote from him is that if you say anything about a Black so-called queen, you're a racist. And then that same man left several comments. It's the first of the month. Go get your 9-inch eyelashes and 12-inch nails done with my tax money, implying that I'm on welfare because I'm Black. He then followed that up with, by the way, there can't be millions of queens. Y'all are more like baby princesses wanting to be queens in your little huts. Y'all make me sick. The implication there is quite obvious. Someone else had called me or had said, another weak ass Black woman crying about everything, no surprise. Someone else has said, we love Black women. You're just an LGBT feminist and misandrist. We love Black queens, something you're clearly not. Someone called me a bonnet bandit, or referred to Black women as bonnet bandits. Someone else, a Black woman actually, called me a whiny little brat, which, okay, that's a matter of opinion. But she followed that up with, additionally, no one cares if you take Black men seriously. You are single and no one's knocking your door down. No one cares if you stay that way. Laughing emoji. A white woman had gone to tell me how exhausted she is with Black people talking about racism 24/7. A direct quote from her is, everything is racist these days, which means living in perpetual victimhood. And I've discussed previously why that's incorrect. And those were just some of the ones from TikTok. There were also some other comments that were left today that I didn't write down or anything. And obviously those are terrible comments, sure. I was in a good headspace and I'm still in a good headspace, so these didn't hurt my feelings or anything. And I know that people say those things because they're angry and they're projecting that anger onto me and the situation and the topics that I discuss. But I kept repeating the thing that person had said in the comment section because it would be really easy for me to just be angry at the people who left those comment sections. And it would be really easy for me to come on here and just tell everybody why they're wrong and all of these things. But it's hard to be compassionate and understand that you can't help everybody, I think. Like, it would be really nice and hypothetically in the perfect world, I would be able to tell people and explain to them why talking about the things that Black women experience in American society isn't playing the victim. It's just educating people and sharing my experience and how insulting it is for it to be invalidating. I could come on here and say all of that, but at the same time, I just understand that not everything's about me. I don't take those comments personally. Like, yeah, are some of them hurtful and harmful? Absolutely. Yeah, 1000%. At the same time, I understand that everybody can't and isn't going to be educated. Not everybody's going to care about these problems because they're not the ones experiencing them. And I can be compassionate about that. I can accept that realization that not everybody's going to care about the things that I care about, and not everybody's going to take the things that I say seriously, and not everybody is going to be understanding or want to know more about the plight that marginalized communities and minorities face in America. I understand that. I think another element of this is that at the same time that I'm compassionate about those things and that I can accept that, it gets really tiring to be compassionate to everybody all the time. And I think this is an element of like, I think this is something that Black women understand, is that people are always telling you about how sorry they are. And they do that thing with like white tears, and how, oh, like, you know, like I didn't mean like whatever I said and all of this stuff. And Black women always have to take people's like, they always have to just accept their tears, kind of. Not like accept them. Like, there are a lot of people who don't want to hear all that and don't listen to white people like talk about how sorry they are and their apologies or whatever. It just gets so annoying to constantly be advocating for other people who wouldn't do the same for you and don't give a fuck about what you're going through in your life. Honestly, it gets tiring to be like, I just have to accept that this is how life is. Like, we accept that that's what life is here in America, and we accept that this is how it is, but that doesn't make it easy. And it's honestly so annoying, like I've said before, to be, oh, Black women are so strong. That's great that you think that. Black women shouldn't have to be. Like, it's really cool that we are, and it's great that people see Black women as being strong. But we shouldn't always have to be strong and understanding of everything. Like, we just always have to take the weight of other people's stuff all the time. Like, we have to take the weight of your apologies. Ain't nobody trying to take all that. Like, girl, no, don't need to hear all that. Like, honestly, don't even really, so at some point, sometimes from some people, don't need that long ass apology. Okay? Black women are always accepting the weight of other people's problems. And it is so not only traumatizing, but like honestly annoying. Like, it's so tiring to constantly have to be like, this is just how I'm going to be treated. This is just how the world is. Because it's not fair. I know that life isn't fair, but it's definitely the least fair to Black women, and especially darker skinned Black women, and to Black people in general. I could go on and I could keep talking, but honestly, I feel like I've said everything I need to say. I think I've said my piece. Like I said, I'm not necessarily hurt by the comments or the things that were said to me this week. It's whatever. It's just frustrating that this is American culture. Like, this is the country that I live in. Like, that it really sucks that there are people out there who hate every single aspect of me. There are people who hate me because I'm Black. There are people who hate me because I'm a woman. There are people who hate me because I'm part of the LGBTQ plus community. Like, and I just have to sit there and take it. It's really frustrating and it's really hard. But I think, again, I'm going to end this off on a high note. I think it's important that we keep having these conversations and we keep talking about these things, and that we make space for people's stories and their experiences, and we don't invalidate them just because we don't understand them, and we listen and give people the mic to speak. So yeah, I guess my one thing would be, if you stuck around for the episode, is to be nice to people. Honestly, be understanding, listen to people, have compassion. I know that it's hard to put yourself in shoes that you never walked in before, but just care about other people. Be there for them. Show up for them. Just do that. Go out in the world. Be better. Leave it better than you found it. Just be a kind person. And I think we'll be okay. If we can all stick to that, we'll be okay. But I do want to thank you guys for listening. Again, if you have things that you want to add to the conversation, the comments are always open. I always respond to them. Like I said, if you want to follow me and you want to know when I'm posting and all these things, and you want to see what I'm talking about over on TikTok, everything is linked down below in the description of whatever you're listening to this on. And yeah, this was cool, I guess. Not really. I wouldn't say cool. No. But yeah, this was cool. And not I said it again. Well, I was here and you were here, and I appreciate you for listening, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. It'll be a lot more fun. Also, that is the one thing. I'm going to be posting another episode maybe like by the middle of the week. It's going to be like a bonus episode, and my friend's coming on the podcast, and I love it when I have guests on the podcast, and I love it when it's my friends especially. So my friend Paige is going to be on the podcast, and they've been on the podcast before. So if you want to go and listen to that first episode, it's available on Spotify in audio version. And yeah, this was cool, I guess, in a way. It was educational. I'm glad I said what I said. And this was really cool. So it was just so cool. I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Bye.